The Nigerian Sustainable Finance Roadmap, according to the Green Finance Platform, provides an analysis of sustainable finance opportunities in Nigeria out to 2030 and assesses the characteristics of these opportunities and estimates current sustainable finance flows. This conversation comes on the heels of Nigeria being a signatory, of course, to the Paris Agreement, participation in the COP26 and we know that Egypt is gearing up for COP27 in November. Well, Nigeria's current climate goal, set in July, is to reduce emissions by 20% below a business as usual projection by 2030. Now, let's find out how Nigeria, or the path Nigeria is taking to this forecast and projection, and of course, this plan. We'll have this conversation with Adeze Uzo-Kalu. She's an investment banker and industry expert, and she joins us from our Abuja studio. Good morning, Adeze. Good to see you.
Good morning, Nini. How are you doing? Good morning.
Great. Good morning.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, so the world is talking about climate change and embracing clean energy. Should Nigeria, I mean, when we want to be realistic, looking at, of course, the fact that Nigeria's mainstay is coming from crude oil, you know, should Nigeria be part of this conversation at this time?
Well, I think Nigeria should be part of that conversation at this time. Like you rightly said, Nigeria did sign the Paris Agreement in 2015. Not only that, we have quite a lot of issues when it comes to environmental challenges. We have floods everywhere, desertification in the north. We have pollution, erosion, and so Nigeria should be part of that climate change conversation. And the Climate Change Vulnerability Index actually states that Nigeria is one of 10 countries that are vulnerable to climate change. So yes, we should be part of that conversation.
Okay, so where is the implementation of the Nigerian Sustainable Finance Roadmap? Where are we now?
Okay, so the Nigeria Sustainable Finance Roadmap, developed by the United Nations Environment Programme, is very much, you know, where it should be in terms of implementation. Capital market stakeholders are doing so well, and even regulators are doing so well in terms of ensuring that there is a level of awareness in terms of sustainable finance and climate action. We're doing a lot in terms of mobilizing funds towards green projects. The regulators have rolled out policies. Recently, the Securities and Exchange Commission rolled out the sustainable finance principles for the Nigerian capital market. We also have the green bond rules by the SEC as well. Exchanges are doing so well in terms of capacity building, workshops, stakeholder engagements and awareness, training. So much is going on. Not only that, the proof of that is that we've the total bonds we have right now in the capital market is about 55.52 billion. And that is both sovereign and corporate bond issuances. So we're doing well. There's progress in terms of implementation, and that is just where we should all be in terms of everyone putting their hands on deck to grow the pie.
Yeah, so talking about funding now, in 2016, Nigeria raised 20 billion naira, that's about $63 million, to help fund renewable energy projects. And that was the first issuance of green bonds in the country. Now, are we seeing those projects from the funding, so we don't just have the fund and celebrate that? Do we see the impact really as it should be?
I think we're taking steps in the right direction. Since the issuance of that bond, we've also had 10.69 billion on the sovereign side. We've had corporate bonds come to market with 15 billion with Access Bank, North-South Power. That was raised, 8.5 billion was raised to finance the Shiroro hydroelectric power. Access Bank raised money to fund sustainable solar power and sustainable energy and agriculture. So I think definitely there is evidence, because the impact reports they've generated over time has also shown that they're taking steps in terms of developing green projects for the Nigerian economy. So the impact reports are very important. They have great technical support from the capital market, from advisors, and so definitely we can see the projects, definitely, and see the evidence. But it's a drop in the ocean, but there's room for development at the same time.
Yeah, I guess to say that the most important thing is that we've started the conversation. Well, there's also of course, the Paris Agreement. There's COP 2016, which Nigeria participated in last year, and most likely will again in Egypt this year. Do you see intentional efforts to follow through with promises? Our president was there last year for COP 26, and we had some promises and some targets. Do you see intentional steps and, strategies to achieve some of the promises made?
I would say yes, Ini. This particular administration, they've done so well in terms of climate action. We have policies that have been rolled out, such as the Climate Change Act in November 21, and we also have the Interministerial Committee on Climate Change, and these are all championed by the Ministry of Finance. The presidency very much and its delegates were very much present at the COP26, and I think for me the COP26 was very much more about implementation and the reality of the challenges the developing countries have in terms of access to long-term capital. But I'll say that definitely the government and Nigeria as a country are committed to all the agreements, the pledges from the Glasgow Climate Act and also the Paris Agreement. I think they're committed, and I think there's action and a lot of development has happened thus far.
Well, some people have the impression that perhaps the Western world is trying to push this thing down our throat before our time. I remember late last year, in the height of hike in energy prices, countries like China, UK, they went back, to coal, which is what shouldn't be. So really, when we want to see what we are doing and what we should be doing, what should we be doing now without cutting out or, hitting ourselves or cutting off our own source of income, because we want to follow what the world is saying or what the Western world is saying?
Oh, Ini, this is a controversial topic. But I'll say that development is a gradual process. And you are right in terms of a country like Nigeria, we just assented or approved the Petroleum Industry Act. We are a fossil fuel economy. We are reliant on it. But we are also at the same time transitioning and changing towards a more sustainable economy, towards more development, which is very critical. Yes, other worlds or the other Western countries will feel that the European countries used coal to develop their own countries, and then now they're saying, okay, you can't. And even Russia's 2035 strategy does show an increase in coal production for the Asian market. And so what I'll say to you is that it's a gradual process. They are looking, the countries are looking to ensure commitment to the Paris Agreement, and this is critical for the Conference of the Parties and the presidency and all countries. It's very critical that countries stick to the Paris Agreement and to now the new Glasgow Climate Act in terms of transitioning from fossil fuel and the reduction of coal and greenhouse gas emissions.
Okay, so let's go to the private sector now. How much of buy-in do we have from corporate Nigeria? How are businesses aligning to these overall goals of climate change and clean energy?
So I think that a lot of corporates and businesses are doing well because a lot of awareness has been created about sustainable finance, the sustainable development goals, about climate change. So corporates in Nigeria are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that their activities now have to align towards sustainable development goals. Now, businesses are connected to the government, connected to the people, connected to communities. So they have that responsibility to start ensuring that they align. But I think that a lot of corporates have aligned, or they're even revamping their overall business strategies to align with gender diversity or gender equality, to align with environmental issues, social issues, and even quoted companies now are actually mandated to submit reports in terms of their sustainable growth, their corporate social responsibilities. and in the Women and Diversity reports, you can see that the international companies are doing that, big companies are doing that. So I think corporate Nigeria are following suit and are doing their very best to grow the pie. Doing their very, very best, I think. But there is room for more stakeholder awareness, definitely room for more engagement in terms of creating that awareness as to the impact of their business activities.
All right, and there's the Green Climate Fund. How, what's that about, and who should benefit from it?
So the Green Climate Fund is governed by the 194 countries and is obviously the headquarters in South Korea. We have a board, the Green Climate Fund has a board, and every country, and it's really to support developing countries that are trying to adapt to climate action. Now, in Nigeria, the Department of Climate Change under the Ministry of Environment oversees the management of the Green Climate Fund. Now, any company or organization or startup that has a climate-related project, especially one that has to do with the mitigation of greenhouse gas emission, can apply for this fund. But the process is a little bit tedious in the sense that you'll have to definitely put together a business plan, put together your financial plan, and then an accredited company will need to sort of review that. And then the submission goes to the Ministry of Environment, Department of Climate Change. Now, that department has to issue a letter of no objection to the potential company, and also that gets submitted through the accredited agency to the board in South Korea. The board sit once a quarter, and then they make decisions on the countries or projects they want to finance. So the project has to be bankable, and it definitely has to be about reducing greenhouse gas emissions, so solar power, renewable energy, and the likes.
Yeah, well, sounds really like a long process there, and I hope that Nigerian businesses can access it and put their books together to make the most of it. Well, we really have to stop it there. Thank you so much, Adeze Ozokalo, investment bank and industry expert, for sharing your thoughts with us on sustainable finance in Nigeria this morning. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Ini. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Great to have you. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll talk about food security and also developing the value chain in agriculture to boost employment. That's our next conversation on Business Morning here on Channels Television.